Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fans Edge podcast, your monthly home for discussion on games, TV, film, and everything in between. As usual, we host Joe and the person who sasses his friend, only to be humbled soon after, Tom. Tom, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, doing good. Doing good.
I love these intros. Got to give a shout out to Jay for putting these together for us. They're fantastic.
Yeah, he's kind of revamped them all.
Oh,
he's
okay.
incorporated. He's now incorporated our line in the intro beat.
Right.
If you notice, yeah.
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 Well, okay, cool. Look, let's talk about this month's podcast then. Today we're going to be talking about the game releases from April.
Mm-hmm.
The latest Star Wars news. It's covering gaming, TV, and film. We've got a bit of a bumper special on Star Wars. We're going to talk about the crew and a little bit of a Warhammer update. And yes, Tom, you're right again. I mean, look, it's a staple for us, is it not?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to come up often. But yeah, look, let's start things off. Tom, what have you been up to recently? Playing, watching, reading?
For watching Bad Batch, he's getting good.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
He's getting very good. Alex Rider Season 3 came out, and on the day I binge watched the entire season in one day because it's on Freevee. So, that was very good. I'm a bit disappointed that, they're not doing it anymore, but I'm hoping someone else might pick up the series because it is good. The quality is really good. And considering one of the seasons was through COVID, I think, as well.
That sounds about right.
Might have been season 1.
Maybe.
Regardless, the quality that they did, fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and although there has been iterations that have slightly been different from the books, I think it's done well for how it's been received by fans. For example, the addition of Kyra.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I've also been watching Station 19 last season, season 7. And as of the recording of today, I've been watching the World Endurance Championship round 2 at Imola, 6-hour race. So it started at 12, it finished at 6 p.m. It was quite exciting, actually. It's quite good. There was carnage on turn 1, which is something you'd normally think in sim racing. But we're
doing it live today.
The professionals did it live today from Italy. But yeah, it was good. As for what I've been playing, I've gone back to Overwatch 2. God rest my soul.
Okay.
I've been playing some Le Mans Ultimate, playing some Prison Architect, and Duckside playtest.
Okay.
So Duckside, do you know the game Rust, where you just it's a survival game, right?
Yeah.
It's basically like that, but you're a duck.
Okay.
So you can fly around, and you can So it's got that PvPvE sort of aspect as well. I brought my seasoned Rust player out of retirement to do this because I was like, Tom, I need your scummy Rust mindset because we're gonna go into Duckside, please. We actually did raid somebody as well.
Fair enough.
We imagine a ducks with crossbows or rocket launchers or guns. Yeah, that's Duckside. It's Rust, but enough. With ducks. That's me. That's really what I've been up to the last few weeks. This is the last podcast.
All right, fair enough. I'm not going to question it. Fair enough. It is what it is. I've also been watching The Bad Batch. I'm loving every second of it. I'm very sad it's going to end. But we've got a couple of new Star Wars shows coming up, which we'll go into in a little bit more detail in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Alex Rider as well. I didn't binge it. Mine lasted for about a week, I think. I watched it over a period of a week. I agree with you. I think it's a fantastic show, all 3 series so far. I think we were saying the other day they're not planning on making any more series at this stage.
No.
But I do feel like with the ending, they've left it very open to doing more.
Yeah.
So I'm quietly hopeful, fingers crossed, that someone will pick it up and go, no, let's do a season 4 and so on. But yeah, you're right. There's a few changes from the books, but I think they're very much in the theme of the show and the books, and it very much fits the characters very well. You're right, they've added Kyra as a new character, but again, he fits that dynamic. I really like it. It feels like they put a lot of thought into it and been very respectful of the books, even with their changes. And yeah, it works. It really does work. I'm very, very happy, and I'm so glad that they did it. Just hoping for more. Games wise, what have I been playing? Empire at War, standard. Obviously been streaming some trucks with you. And I also played a little bit of Starfield recently. Again.
Oh.
Yeah, I've decided to give it another go. I was going to stream it, but I think I'm just playing it as a bit of a casual game at the moment. Just to sit back and relax. And I mean, of course, been playing Helldivers as well. But yeah, getting back into Starfield a little bit. But yeah,
nice.
I think that's me kind of covered though. I don't think there's been much else recently. But look, let's keep things moving forwards. Tom, you're going to start us with the game releases.
Yeah, so as usual, I'll cover a wide variety. I won't be covering everything. I'll be trying to cover a few sort of genres, and some of the games might already be out. So, as an example, 1st of April, we have a DLC launch, and this excited me because Assetto Corsa Cubzioni now has Nordschleife. Yes, the big one. The big one. And this isn't just any Nords. This is the updated one for all the adjustments they did, I think, last year. So there's a new curb and stuff, and all the new surfacing. So it's probably the latest addition to the Nordschleife. And it has made me realise how out of practice of the Nordschleife I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So that released as a DLC. Now, on the back of that, I was going to discuss this in its own topic, but we have other things to talk about. In game on the because obviously it goes to the GB circuit, then it goes on to the Nordschleife. Yeah. There was a digital board, which isn't unusual for a track, and it had this QR code. And the QR code took us to a website. For we now have the official name for Assetto Corsa 2.
Oh!
Which I bet you didn't know about, did you?
No, that's exciting.
So it's going to be called Assetto Corsa Evo, which is fitting because of the Evo cars. Because you would have, for example, an ACC example, a McLaren 720S, and then they'll bring out, which they have done so, it's in ACC, the 720S Evo. It's a slightly better version of that, so I like that naming convention instead of Assetto Corsa 2. But yeah, they've kind of teased it with this sort of website thing, which is very cool. So, because that's a reminder, that's coming out in early access. It should be this summer, or at some point this year. So yeah. That's exciting.
Interesting.
Yeah. On the 3rd of April, for our continuing our releases, we have an indie game that I was interested in and I grabbed. It's called No Plan B. And it's on early access. And this is a 3D action strategy sim game based around a SWAT team. So you plan your strategy and execute it, and you have one shot at it, hence the sort of name. And it uses a timeline mechanic, actually. So you can... so imagine like a timeline in editing software or just playing something like a player.
Oh, yeah.
So it uses that for you to plan all your moves from each sort of unit or each person from that SWAT team to kind of breach or cover whatever, which is quite cool. So it's almost a management sort of strategy game, which is quite cool, which I like the look of. So instead of something like Ready or Not, where you're actually the player breaching with other people or whatever, or with AI, it's you doing the strategic planning from above and doing the, okay, this is how you're going to breach through here or whatever. Yeah, it's quite good.
Interesting.
On the 11th of April, you've got Infection Free Zone. This is another early access game on Steam. So this is an action strategy during a zombie apocalypse. So you manage, build, and scavenge and fight for survival. Some of my friends are quite interested in zombie survival stuff. This actually piqued my interest because I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure some of my friends will like that. And I was sort of interested in it. I haven't grabbed it, but yeah, it's now out. So it's basically a management sim of surviving a zombie apocalypse. On the 18th of April, you've got No Rest for the Wicked for Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox X and S. So this is an action-adventure RPG from the makers of Ori and the Blind Forest. They're award-winning, I believe. So that's a new game from them. I believe it's actually coming out in early access on Steam as well. But yeah. On the 26th of April, we've got Stellar Blade. That's a PlayStation 5 exclusive. So this is a story-based third-person action-adventure based in a post-apocalyptic world, and you're equipped with a one-handed blade. You may have seen some footage online. It's like, what's it called? What's that game called? Nier Auto. What's it called?
Oh, Nier Automata.
Yes, that one. It's that sort of type of game.
Okay.
That sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah, and that's game releases really for April. Yeah.
Oh, nice and short then. Okay, cool. Well, let's move on to the Star Wars news then. Yeah, there's quite a few things that we've got to discuss this month. So I think we're probably going to do a little bit of a back and forth on these, aren't we? Just thinking about what we've got to cover. But let's start with the KOTOR remake. Now, I know a lot of people would have been very excited about KOTOR. I don't know if I've said this before on the podcast, but I didn't get to play KOTOR. I missed that hype. And I may have it on Steam, I cannot remember now, but I've just never got around to playing it. But I am excited about the remake, and I was very excited when they announced it because I thought that would be my way into it. That was, just looking through our notes here, that was announced in 2021. However, we've not had much of an update on it for a while, and I think the latest news was that it appeared that development had stopped. There's been a bit of stop-start, but it kind of stalled, I guess is the word. It looks like it's changed hands a few times as well. It looks like the latest update is that Saber Interactive have taken over the KOTOR remake. And according to their CEO, it's alive and well, which is good news. I'm just trying to think. Tom, who do we know Saber Interactive for? It's a familiar name.
Let me take a guess. Well, let's see. How about SnowRunner, Expeditions, Warhammer? Yeah, those guys.
So, good hands then.
Yeah, so this was part of... Embracer have been selling a bunch of stuff. They've sold Gearbox as well, who belong to obviously the Borderlands franchise. And I think...
Yes.
Who did they give them to? I think it was 2K now who own Gearbox now.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. So they basically want to sell all these stuff off. So they kind of sold another one to Saber Interactive, which I didn't realize. Saber Interactive own a lot, and I mean a lot. I looked into Saber Interactive. I couldn't believe how much Saber Interactive have under their portfolio. I
feel like they've really grown. Like they obviously had a few games that they were responsible for originally.
Yeah.
But they've taken on a lot of IPs, they've taken on a lot of teams, and they just seem to be growing. And I don't know about you, but everything that I'm seeing coming out from them seems to be very well received. So personally, I'm quite positive, or feeling quite positive about them taking over the KOTOR remake. Yeah. I feel like they'll do a good job of it. But yeah, let's go back to what he was saying. Excuse me. So Saber Interactive CEO Matthew Karch, I'm going to paraphrase some of the bits from what he said. But he did say that it's clear and it's obvious that we're working on this. It's been in the press numerous times. What I will say is that the game is alive and well, and we're dedicated to making sure we exceed consumer expectations. That's good. He knows it's well loved. It's clear in what he's saying. He knows that how this is received is so important. And I mean, like I say, if we look back at what else Saber Interactive has done,
yeah,
they know how to take care of their community, right? He's not offering a lot of further details at the moment, but apparently an investor call, following the announcement of their previous CEO's departure, it just implied that the KOTOR remake might still be some way away. So I know we're talking that it's been in limbo for God, however many years now. We might still have a few years.
Oh, it was announced.
That was when it was announced. I don't know if it was I mean, I would imagine it was worked on prior to that.
It was worked on prior by a different studio, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, 6 years of development. So, 6 years in, it might still be a few years away. But if Saber are going to take it and run with it, hopefully we'll get some more updates now, and we'll start to see some progress happening. Again, going back to some of the announcements, it looks like 3 years of development at Aspire, however you pronounce it. And then it was paused
Aspire,
indefinitely.
the guys responsible for the Star Wars Classic Collection, Dumpster Fire. Yeah, that studio.
I was going to come back to that, actually, because, I mean, there's not much else in this interview, really, I think, that's worth mentioning in relation to this, so we'll skip that. In terms of Aspire and their Star Wars Battlefront 2 remake, I'm now very glad that KOTOR has moved away from them.
Well,
not necessarily that it's gone to Saber, just that it's gone away from
Aspire,
them.
What? They botched another Star Wars game. What was it?
Oh, really?
Well, it came out on the Switch, I'm pretty sure. It was some sort of remake. And they cancelled the DLC for it, I think. But yeah. So, Star Wars fans haven't been, happy with Aspire to begin with. So,
Yeah, I can't find what it is and just try and have a little look, but I'm not seeing much on.
It might actually been a KOTOR remake.
Possibly.
Potentially.
I mean, when you search Aspire Star Wars games, there is quite a few different references to KOTOR. So it could well be that they did one for the Switch, maybe. Yeah. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, when you look at how they botched Star Wars Battlefront 2, I mean, we talked about it, was it last month?
Yeah.
About how much of an easy win that would have been for them. Very simple update to what they had. They put in content that was previously locked on certain consoles, and release it, and people would have had a full-on nostalgia fest. Like, the rose-tinted glasses would have gone on, and people would have been happy. But then we found out they cut content. They didn't have the server structure to support what was clearly going to be a very popular game. And I mean, it's just like they ran all the way up the pitch, kicked the ball into the goal, and went, "Oh, that's ours." Oh no, we've gone the wrong way. You could not have failed more spectacularly.
Yeah, and
so
yeah. Just an update. I'm on the Steam page now. A month ago, it was mostly negative. It is still mostly negative reviews.
Look, if they're trying to fix it, that's cool. But look, clearly they're not doing enough to fix the problems that
they're not going to.
They're not sour taste in a lot of people's mouths.
They're not going to bring back those negative reviews easily. Nah.
No,
it's not going to happen.
Right. But yeah, looking at that, as an example of them taking and remaking a Star Wars game. I'm glad they're not working on the KOTOR remake anymore. Like I say, regardless of it going to Saber Interactive, whoever it went to, I think is better than being with Aspire. And I'm sorry, I don't want to bash a studio, but with such a miss there, quite recently as well. Yeah, it just feels like that's the right move. So I'll remain open to what happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure Saber will give us some updates, but I'm quietly hopeful that we'll get a very good remake out of this.
And this is meant to be a timed exclusive on the PlayStation. And this is probably one of the reasons why I currently have a very, very expensive paperweight or charging station on my desk. I'm of course talking about my PlayStation 5. It was one of the reasons why I wanted it, because I'm like, I'm not waiting until it comes to PC. I want it now.
Yeah, the PS5 you start up twice a year?
Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, because like in 2021 when it was announced, you kind of think it can't be that far away, right? But now it's 2024, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, yeah, looking at the news that has come out, it looks like it was very much a stop-start. So even if they have made any progress in that time, it's not going to have been much because, I mean, I don't know about you, but if I'm at work and I start a project and then stop it, doesn't matter how long I leave it. If I leave it for half a day and I come back to it, I need to refresh myself on what the hell I'm looking at. I imagine it's tenfold doing it with a game. And again, it depends on how long they stopped that for at a time. If they've stopped it for months at a time, developers coming back to it are going to go, right, well, let's just start from step one again, work out what we've done and go from there. They can't have done a lot. So, yeah, hopefully, those of you watching the podcast can see my fingers crossed here. Saber gets it right. And actually thinking about that, what, in my mind, I don't know about you, Tom, but in my mind, what will be a good example of them taking on a game or an IP and putting out something new in that IP is going to be Space Marine 2. Looping it back to that. They're obviously picking that up after, the Space Marine 1 came out like 10 years ago by a different studio. So, another studio picking up a game and putting something out in that franchise, that's going to be kind of, I guess, the test for me of whether Saber can do it justice. That would be quite telling in my mind, at least. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I don't know about you, Tom.
Yeah,
I assume you are.
Yeah, I have. I think it's KOTOR 2, the Sith Lords, on Steam, but I didn't really get too much into it because I thought the controls were a little bit meh on PC.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get into it. I've tried playing it like maybe 2 or 3 times, but I just haven't experienced it, which is kind of why I want this to kind of do well and actually come out, which would be nice.
Yeah.
And don't do an EA and cancel it. Yeah. I'm not letting the people forget that they cancelled the Mandalorian game. No.
You're going to bring that up every month for the rest of time.
Yeah.
I can't blame you, to be fair. That would have been a very good game, and I'm
it's Respawn as well. Yeah.
But yeah, right. KOTOR, hopefully good news. We'll have to just kind of watch this space, see what happens. The next thing that I want to talk about in the Star Wars sphere is Tales of the Empire. Oh, this dropped out of nowhere. I don't think we knew anything about this coming, did we?
No, I was just chilling. I looked on YouTube. Oh, there's a trailer. Let me message every single Star Wars fan that I know on Discord. Let me spam everybody's DMs. Guys, there's a new trailer. Hi, May 4th, Tales of the Empire.
I'm just going back through our DMs. I think it popped up whilst I was at work. And I was like, sorry, what? Yeah, you messaged me, and I was like, yeah. So, Tales of the Empire, I'm sure Tom's going to layer in some shots from the trailer for for those of you watching on the YouTubes. It's, I suppose we can call it a new series.
Well,
Tales of is kind of like the overarching series.
Yeah, kind of, because at the end it shows Tales of the Jedi, and then it kind of dissolves into Tales of the Empire.
Yeah, so I think, and this is what people have been talking about a lot, or I've seen a lot of discussion about, is they might be making Tales of the new kind of story sphere thing. Like you had Clone Wars, you had Bad Batch,
to
you had
expand
Rebels.
more gaps, I suppose.
You're right. So it'll tell stories filling in those areas that aren't really touched on. We obviously had Tales of the Jedi, now we've got Tales of the Empire. Who knows what we might have next.
It's funny, because we were expecting Tales of the Jedi Season 2.
Yeah.
But now we've got this, which is interesting. But
I'm okay with that, though.
Yeah. But also, this seems to be going in a slightly different format, because this seems to be, it might be shorter, but it seems to be one story. Tales of the Jedi was more numerous stories.
No, I mean, again, we don't have a lot to go on. We only have one trailer so far.
Tales of the Empire seems to interconnect with everything, because it's all surrounding what's her name? What's she called?
It's not, though.
Which lady?
It's not all around Barriss.
No, not Barriss. Which lady?
Oh,
Night Sister.
What's her name? Oh, that's gonna bug me. Morgan Elsbeth. There we go.
Yes, that was it. Yeah. By the look of everything, she's the consistent factor throughout almost everything, and then we've obviously got the Barriss thing as well.
Yeah, so I don't... Again, yeah, so as I was saying, we've only got the one trailer to go on, so we've not got a lot to try and decipher this from. But, again, I'm falling back on a lot of conversations I've been seeing online. It looks like we'll have two major stories in Tales of the Empire. One will be the Thrawn and Morgan story.
Yeah.
Because it's an early Thrawn. This must be just after he's joined the Empire from the Chiffs. And it'll be his connection to Morgan, and I assume the Night Sisters more overarching, or what remains of them anyway.
Yeah.
And then the other story will be Barriss and her journey into becoming an Inquisitor. But it looks like those will be the two main stories.
Yeah.
Within Tales of the Empire. Whether we'll get other stuff in there, I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited. I like the idea. I like the idea of the two main stories that we're seeing. I mean, I always want more Thrawn content, so I'm happy with that. Yeah. And yeah, I'd always wondered what happened to Barriss. The idea of her becoming an Inquisitor is strange, but I kind of like it.
It's almost it's sealing another gap, because we obviously see Morgan originally in the Mandalorian, where she's against Din, and then we don't know how she gets there, but with this we get to see how she gets there. Yeah. I'm just playing the trailer for myself, because I'm pretty sure there's a release date, isn't there? May 4th.
Oh, it is. It's May 4th.
Yeah.
Okay. Star Wars Day.
The Star Wars Day, yes.
Which is interesting, because the Acolyte comes out around then as well.
Yeah, so we're going to have a double whammy, and there'll be, I'm guessing, still crossover, because Bad Batch is still ongoing.
We've only got 2 more weeks of Bad Batch.
Oh, do we?
Well, as of time of recording.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Yeah, there's only 2 more weeks of Bad Batch, and it ends. So Bad Batch is going to finish.
Can't it not just go on forever?
I would like that too, Tom, but Papa Dave Filoni says no.
Yeah.
He has other projects to move on to, apparently.
Yeah. I was talking about sealing gaps. Obviously, that's one of them. But the other one is, everyone's been wondering, where's Barriss? Because people thought she'd appear in what series was it that had the flashback to Order 66 that had her symbol on? Ahsoka, I want to say. You're looking confused. What?
I am. I don't remember that.
Oh, someone deciphered this. So, you know when Jar Jar Binks' actor saves Figure
Keller and Beck. Yeah.
Yeah. apparently in one of those scenes, someone's like gone frame by frame, and it's got Barris's symbol on a door somewhere.
Oh.
I didn't know you didn't know that.
No, I've never noticed that.
Yeah.
I've not seen that online.
I only saw it online because someone pointed it out. I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. The fact that he's put that in.
Oh. Although, could that just be her quarters within the temple?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
because obviously when she's arrested,
Filoni doesn't do anything without a reason.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But yeah, no, obviously when she was arrested, that was quite close to the end of the war anyway. So I can see that maybe they hadn't changed her quarters over after she'd left.
Yeah. But also, we know that if Filoni has anything to do with it, he's teasing something, and maybe this is what he was teasing.
No, that makes sense. That tracks. You're right. He doesn't put anything in without a reason for it.
It makes me now think: was it Ahsoka or was it Mandalorian? Because he was saving Grogu.
It must have been Mandalorian. Or could it have been Book of Boba when he had that flashback?
Oh, I actually can't remember.
No, I'm pretty sure the full flashback was the last season of Mandalorian.
Alright, yeah.
I'm sure it was. Anyways, getting off topic now. Yeah, no, I hadn't noticed that, but that is really interesting because he definitely, you're right, he doesn't do anything without a reason. So he's been teasing that for a while. He's clearly been, I mean, actually it doesn't.
The thing is, it probably flashes up for like maybe a couple of frames, and he probably knows that there are some dedicated Star Wars fans that will go frame by frame.
Yeah.
I don't do that, but you know there are other people out there that will.
There are definitely people within this community that will watch everything frame by frame to find everything. Will have the red lines on a board somewhere in a room, pinning things together, going, see, I called it. It's there all along. I guarantee someone is
It's like that guy on Instagram that finds the real life props from Star Wars.
Yeah. But yeah, so Tales of the Empire I'm very excited for. And then going back to what I was saying at the start, I'm very excited for the prospect of this being more Tales of series in the future. Yeah, there was quite a few sort of mentioned. I can't think of what now. I mean, like Tales of the Rebels was one, or Rebellion or something. Tales of.
Someone made an entire graphic of all the little Tales stuff. I remember seeing it. So there's like Tales of the Mandalorians and Tales of this, Tales of that. Everything that you could ever think of was on this graphic, and it was so small. It probably had rows of maybe 5 or 6 going all the way down. Yeah.
I think I saw the same thing.
Yeah.
We're probably thinking of that together right now. But yeah, there's so many possibilities of what they could do. And I love the idea, and I do hope we get more of it, because if this is anything like Tales of the Jedi, it's just going to be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I did look up as well. The Acolyte the first episode's on the 4th of June. So
a month after.
Yeah, there's probably going to be a little bit of overlap. Did they release it all in one go with Jedi?
I think they did.
Okay, so we might get that on on May the 4th.
Yeah.
And then, a month later we'll get the Acolyte. But 2 things I'm very excited for. This was shadow dropped, and I'm absolutely here for it. Dave Filoni, keep giving me more content. I love your work. Last thing that I want to touch on. We finally have a release date for The Mandalorian and Grogu. This is, I think we said this is supposed to be replacing season 4 of The Mandalorian, isn't it?
Yes.
We're doing this instead of another season.
Yeah.
Not to say that they won't do more after, but
it wasn't too long ago where we said, the Mandalorian Grogu film is going to be in the next few years, and now they've actually given a date, which is good.
Yeah. So the release date that they have given us now is the 22nd of May 2026. So got 2 years to go.
Yeah.
I'm not clutching on for dear life because I need more. inject Star Wars content directly into my veins. But it's fine. We can wait. Ignore the Twitch.
I mean, we have several TV series to look forward to anyway. Before that, anyway.
Yeah. I need more. All right, they finished. They finished on that cliffhanger, and I need more content.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We have another Star Wars film to talk about.
Yeah.
So we touched on this a few times. This was first announced at Celebration in London.
Mm-hmm.
Was that last year now? It was last year.
Yes. You should know. You went.
I know, but time is a fickle thing. Yes. Sorry, there was 3 films announced at Celebration. We've talked about it a few times. I won't go over it again. The one that we're focusing on is the start of the Jedi.
Dawn of the Jedi.
It was
Dawn
of the Jedi. That was the word. It's going to be way far back. We have some more details now, so I'll go over it. It's about 25,000 years in the past. I'm assuming that's going to be prior to Battle of Yavin, because that seems to be when things are determined around. I mean, if you know anything about Star Wars, dates are before Battle of Yavin or after Battle of Yavin. So I'm assuming there'll be 25,000 years prior to that. It's going to follow the origins of the Jedi, which is kind of what we know from what was announced anyway. But it will be... Tom, help me out here. Is it going to be written by James Mangold and co-written by... I'm assuming that's Beau Willimon?
Yeah, so I think people have been sort of referring to it as James Mangold's Star Wars film. James Mangold directed Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny.
Right.
And he also wrote numerous episodes of Andor, including One Way Out. Which
I love
which is the most incredibly amazing, beautifully written episode of Star Wars ever created. It's so good. How he bands everybody together and gets all the prisoners riled up to get them out. Yeah. We need Prison Architect at Star Wars. Sorry, random thought.
I'm sure there'll be mods for it.
There is a mod for Prison Architect, yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, it's still not a lot for us to go on, but
we know the quality of the writing, basically, is what I'm saying there. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. We know the quality of the writing. It's a period that's not been touched on. So I mean,
BioWare would like a word.
It's even before that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's the thing. Yeah, so like KOTOR and Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMORPG, for those of you not familiar. Even those are only like 3,000-4,000 years prior to the Battle of Yavin.
Oh yes.
So this is going way back, which, yeah, like I said, I think that's going to be a really interesting concept. There's going to be a lot for them to play with there, because obviously no one's really entered that period before.
Which means they have full creative freedom no matter what they do.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to base it off, really.
There's a little bit.
I haven't delved into things like Legends or whatever EU canon, whatever it is.
Yeah, to be fair, I haven't either. I got heavily into Star Wars probably around about the time they moved that out into Legends.
Yeah.
That's when I started getting more into it. Before that, I was quite casual. I enjoyed it. There's no hiding it, but I wasn't as deep into it as I probably am now anyway. Yeah. But there is a book which is called the Jedi Handbook. I don't know if it's still canon, but it makes references to things that have been referred to in other Star Wars media. So I'm fairly confident that the tropes in it will be followed. Anyways, it's obviously supposed to be... It's written as like a introductory guide for a new Jedi.
Yeah.
Talking through, the tenets of the Jedi Code, the different forms, but it also talks about the lightsabers. Now, they didn't start with lightsabers. They started with, actually, I think started with Force-imbued blades, which was just a sword made sharper by the Force.
What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, it's basically just a standard sword made sharper by the Force. Then they went on to proto-sabers, which was kind of like a lightsaber, but you couldn't power it from the handle. You basically carried a generator on your back, like a backpack, and it was attached by a cable. So these things, these ideas, I would like to see them using that.
So that is basically like the guys that have made the real life lightsaber.
Yeah. The hacksmith. Yeah,
those guys.
Yeah, they made a proto saber and now they've made a lightsaber. This is exactly it. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see them using things like that in this film. I mean, I don't know which one. It's probably more around the time of the Force Blade. But I think because they want to make it recognizable, they'll probably go with something like the proto saber. That's my prediction, because people will see that and go, oh, Jedi.
Yeah.
Rather than a sword. Anyone can carry a sword. But yeah, like you say, there's so much creative freedom, because even that is just a small part of the whole galaxy.
Yeah.
You know, we have exploring hyperspace routes. I would imagine a lot of that they're still establishing around that period. I mean, the ships are going to be so different as well, so we're going to see a totally different design style.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited for. I always like to see new designs. Yeah, I could sit here and talk about this all day. New eras of Star Wars are always interesting because there's a core thing that we know, but they can totally play around with that because everything would have changed, because so much time is past, or prior in this case. I'm excited. Yeah. In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Tom, you've got one that you want to talk about in our Star Wars news.
Yeah, I want to talk about Star Wars Outlaws, because we got a brand new story trailer. And also Ubisoft being Ubisoft again. But we'll get to that. Let's talk story trailer first. I thought it looked pretty damn good. I've been interested in this since the announcement. It's being made by Massive Entertainment, who are responsible for The Division 2, so I know it's in good hands. I think it looks good. I like the look of Kay and Nix. It is looking pretty good. EA, take notes. There are Star Wars fans out here that are interested in a blaster-based new IP. Would you say you are the same, Joe?
Yeah, so I must admit, I haven't watched the trailer. I've got it playing in the background now. I missed it, right?
Haven't.
I know.
Oh my god.
Look, we've been over this many times. I have the Civ brain. Memories are like water; they just run out. I haven't watched it. I'm running it in the background just so I can see it whilst we're talking anyway. But I 100% agree with you. I know we talked about this, I think, on stream recently. The idea that people only want Jedi or lightsaber-based games is odd to me. Yes, I love a good Star Wars game where I play a Jedi or even a Sith character, to be fair. With that lightsaber combat and the Force, and that's great. I have a lot of fun with that. But you're absolutely right. I want to be able to go and shoot things as well. I want to play a game where I can run around with a gun and explore this vast universe, because there is so much of it outside of the Jedi and the Sith.
Yeah, because this is more around the Outer Rim and the criminal underworld, because we get to see all the new factions. In fact, there's a new faction being introduced with this trailer. I can't remember what they're called, but there's a new criminal underworld faction which has been in. Massive have collaborated with I think it was the Lucasfilm games or whatever they're called, to sort of get that all set up. But there's a new one. Yeah. There's even the introduction, as you'll probably see, Crimson Dawn as well, which is going to be exciting with a lot of people, because people are wondering if the female representing Crimson Dawn is Kira.
Right, I've seen not watched that trailer, not watched the trailer, sorry,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen that yet on what I'm watching. However, I have seen photos posted on, Facebook, Twitter, and everything of that character, and that definitely looks like Kira.
Yeah.
Definitely looks like her. I think it is. I think she's coming back.
And
I
also,
hope that she is anyway.
Also a note, the last time we talked about Star Wars Outlaws, because we have mentioned it before, was we said, oh yeah, we can see Han Solo in Carbonite, so it must be between,
Yes.
What was it? 5 and 6.
Yeah.
But this is even more of confirmation because we see Jabba in the trailer. We see Kay being in, actually going in front of Jabba as well, and we get to see the Carbonite again. So that is Han there, and that's where Kay is introduced almost.
That's the point. Sorry, that's just occurred to me.
Yeah.
That means I mean, that's not a large time period.
No.
Between 5 and 6. So that is very much must be just before Luke appears.
Yeah.
Because Jabba didn't have him for long before Luke came to get him back.
Yeah.
But also, that means the Rancor's still alive.
Yeah, because you see the Rancor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, oh no, that's interesting, because I wonder if we will stumble into certain characters.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe Boba Fett is a possibility, potentially.
Well, he sticks around on Tatooine, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Because he sticks around in Jabba's palace. I would imagine Lando's going to be somewhere, because he was infiltrating the palace to be one of the guards. I mean, could we bump into Luke or Leia?
Potentially. I can imagine them doing this sort of really big surprise. Like we were surprised with Boba Fett with Jedi Survivor. Obviously that meant you had to do all the bounty missions in Survivor, but you know.
I feel like this would be more a natural part of the story. If we go to meet Jabba, I wonder if they will be around the palace.
Potentially. But yeah. The story trailer does look good. I do like the look of it.
Yeah, I've just finished it. It's got me very hyped for it.
Okay. Ubisoft being Ubisoft. Shall we get this out of the way? I think everyone knows what I'm about to talk about. I'm about to talk about the pricing of Star Wars Outlaws, which has set the internet on fire. Okay. So
I've heard some bits about this.
Let's get some context out the way. The standard edition has the base game and the pre-order bonus, which is some cosmetics. That's £60. That's standard. That's okay. Gold edition, we've got the base game and the cosmetics, and then we've got 3 days of early access and the season pass. Oh, season pass.
Sorry.
So the season pass has 2 further DLCs. It also has an exclusive mission called Jabba's Gambit, and it also has a Castle Run character pack, so more cosmetics. And that is £94.99. Okay? But wait, there is more. The Ultimate Edition has all of that, plus the Rogue Infiltrator bundle, the Cyberg Sharp bundle, which are both cosmetics, and the digital art book, which is just a digital art book. It's not a collector's item, it's not something physical. And that rounds it out to £115. Well, £114.99. Yes. I'm sorry, what, Ubisoft? What are you smoking right now?
I also... Sorry, you said season pass in there.
Yes. Let me
season pass in a single player game?
No.
Sorry?
No. You're making a mistake like everyone else is making the same mistake. Season passes in single player games have been a thing for a very long time. For the last 10 years. However, what you and the internet are confusing it with is a battle pass, which is completely different.
Okay, I guess it's just going to be...
A season pass is just additional single-player content. That's all it is. It's just bundled together. people get confused between the Battle Pass now and the Season Pass, but the Season Pass predates the Battle Pass, which confuses me because it predates it. How can you get confused with something that's been around for ages? And Ubisoft does this. They do this with all their single-player games. But yeah, like Season Pass, don't really mind. We're getting extra stuff basically in the future. They're not just going to dump it and leave it. We're going to get more content, which is cool, apart from the ridiculous price, which does take me on to Ubisoft Plus. See, with a Ubisoft Plus, the subscription, you get the Ultimate Edition for $14.99 a month. This is the company that says gamers should be comfortable with not owning games. It seems to me they're trying to push people to do Ubisoft Plus rather than, buying the Ultimate Edition. So, it's just way too much. To me...
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the price increases. I think the 3 days early access should be part of the pre-order bonus.
Yeah.
Just if you're pre-ordering it, fair enough, you get 3 days early access. The season pass, in that case, is £35 increase on the standard edition. So, I mean, we don't know how many DLCs. I assume we don't know how many DLCs we'll get as part of the season pass. I don't know if they've said anything about that, but begs the question: how many DLCs are we going to get for that £35? If we only get one,
we're getting
that's
two.
not worth it.
We're getting two.
Two?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
You're getting two. You're getting two, an exclusive mission available at launch, and a character pack. That's what you get in that season pass.
I don't think that's worth £35, but that's just me. And then for the Ultimate Edition, that's another £20 increase on the Gold Edition.
So you've got two cosmetic packs and the digital art book. Now, no disrespect to the artist, but it's just a digital, probably PDF or something. Yeah,
we disregard that. I agree with you. No disrespect to the artist, but if I'm getting an art book, I want a physical art book. So I'm not. Yeah. If I was to buy that, I'm never going to look at it. So in that case, I'm thinking of it as £10 for the Rogue Infiltrator bundle and £10 for the Sabak Shark bundle.
Yeah.
Sabak, sorry. I don't think it's worth it. I'll be honest.
No, because who's gonna paying £115 up front for a game? No. Yeah. Especially the financial situation right now, where nobody can afford anything. What they're playing at?
But this kind of comes back to the conversations we've had before about not just Ubisoft, but gaming, the gaming industry in general, just pricing people out of the market.
Yeah.
It does reach a point of ridiculousness.
See, Star Wars Outlaws has brought up a great thing with the pricing in terms of a big issue. But I'm just sick and tired of these triple editions. They need to go. There is no reason why they should be here. There should be one £60 edition with pre-order bonuses. That's how it should be. Some of the perks in Gold and Ultimate should be with the standard, right? And that's what it should be. Nintendo don't put triple editions out, right? When you buy Pokemon, it's just one single edition. They have maybe some DLC. You buy them separately.
To be fair,
add on.
With Pokemon, you have Choice A or Choice B, and that's it.
Yeah.
The exact same game.
That's why I like the way that Nintendo does that, particularly the Pokemon company, when they do that, because that's so much better. But this is silly. And with all this pricing for Star Wars Outlaws, this is what I would do. If you put me in charge of doing the editions, this is what I would do. Scrap Gold, scrap Ultimate, scrap Early Access. Why is Early Access a thing now? Right? Early Access used to mean something when you were a content creator or a journalist because you were making content for it. Early Access, there should be one release date, not two. scrap that, right? Have the season pass there for those people that want to buy it separately, but don't make it part of anything. Just have it there. This exclusive mission, yeah, no, make that part of standard, right? All the cosmetics you get, pre-order bonus, right? Boom, done. 60 quid. That's what I would do. That's how it should be. It should be as simple as that. We've gone for the point of we're now searching for a game and thinking, should I buy this? And then we've got through that barrier. Oh yeah, I'm interested in this game. Oh, what edition should I pay for? You know, I've been on both sides. I've paid for an edition with early access and one without. And it's that FOMO, that fear of missing out. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't pay for early access for Starfield, but when I was watching people play it, I was like, I want to play it now. This is the thing with the early access. It makes other people that aren't paying a little bit more, it's paying for exclusivity, and I don't like that. If you buy the game, you should be buying the same game, and you should be getting it at the exact same time as everybody else, no matter what.
Largely, I agree with you, but I don't think I'm as hardline on it as you are. As I said, I don't mind the early access thing. But I think if you're going to do that, that should be part of your pre-order bonus.
Yeah.
If you're going to say, look, you can have 3 days early access, fine, but that's because you've...
I swear that's how it used. I swear that's what it used to be, like maybe 5-10 years ago. You pre-order a game, you get a little bit of early access, and you get some exclusive cosmetics, and that was
Not even on all games. Not even on all games.
Yeah,
it was only some games that did it, but it was part of the pre-order bonus, and I'm okay with that. Some people prefer to pay up front, put that money in and go, well, I'll take the risk. If it's a bad game, oh well, I've lost out, but they do it. Some people prefer to wait for the reviews, hear what people are saying that the game's like, and then buy it. So I can see a pre-order bonus there, an early access thing within a pre-order bonus.
Yeah.
That I'm okay with. Again, the Rogue Infiltrace bundle and the Sabok Shark bundle, I think they're frivolous extras. If you want to sell them as separate things, fine. If you put them on there on launch day on the store as DLC that people can buy, fine. Again, it's not something that is uncommon. Even 5 or 10 years ago, people did DLCs of certain cosmetics or whatever. I'm okay with that. That's fine. That's a way of generating extra revenue so you can continue to develop the game. Cool. I'm fine with that. I do agree with you, though, on this standard gold, or whatever you want to call it, editions.
This triple edition thing,
Yeah. I do think that it should just be, this is the game, fine, 60 quid, that's kind of standard these days. I mean, the price of everything has increased, so fine. We'll say 60 quid. Base game, you pre-order bonus with your early access, fine. If you want to do a bundle with the season pass, cool. But calling it a gold edition when you're just giving us the season pass, alright, yes, there's an early access in there, but I don't think that should be a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, buying gold edition to get the season pass, well, why? I might as well just go and buy it after the game is released, because I guarantee you, they're not going to have those extra story stuff released on day one.
No. This is probably in the future,
Why would they be releasing it separately? Because if they are releasing it on day one, I'm sorry, but that's another argument entirely. Why was that not included in the game to begin with? That, if anything, that I think is shady. But as I say, I don't think it will be on day one. That would be very, very strange. I think a lot more questions would be raised if that was the case.
There's another kind of controversial thing in this, which you might have overlooked here, because I did mention it. In the Season Pass, you get an exclusive mission available at launch called the Jabba's Gambit. Now, this means that this is an exclusive mission that gets put behind a paywall of the Gold Edition or above. So this is a single mission that people don't get access to if you pay for Standard Edition. I think this is more standard practice for Ubisoft doing this, but I don't like it. Because it means, although I think it's not going to be a main mission, it's going to be a side mission. Loads of people thought, oh, that means no one's going to see Jabba. No, Jabba is going to be part of the main standard story. This is just an extra one that Jabba will give you, I think. But
Side quest you can pick up.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But even still, I would say I would want as many people to access these missions behind that because it's part of the core experience. Because there are people out there that want to do these side missions.
It also begs the question on whether you'll be able to... Seems silly for a side quest, but whether you'll be able to buy that separately. Because in theory, I can only talk in theory you should be able to buy the DLCs separately. They shouldn't be locked behind.
Yeah, I think
pass.
they would actually have the season pass separate. Knowing Ubisoft's games, The Division, The Crew, they've all had the season pass separate.
That's fine.
So,
I just mean, in terms of, obviously the season pass gives you access to DLCs that are released over the year.
Yeah.
You basically like pre-ordering them, right?
Basically,
that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. If they're putting a mission behind the season pass, are they also going to sell that separately like they will with the DLCs? Because if not, you have to buy the season pass, which some people might not have the money for up front. I mean, we're saying it's going to be 35 quid.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, not the price of another game nowadays, but enough that it's considerable.
Yeah.
You got to pay another 35 quid just to gain access to this mission, which for certain people, I mean, completionists, people that want to go out and get every single achievement possible in the game, there's definitely going to be achievements for this mission. I would be very surprised if there isn't. So then they have to buy the season pass to gain access to it to be able to complete the game. And even not in that, there will probably be rewards for doing that mission. Otherwise, what's the point of doing the mission? So those rewards are then locked behind the season pass. That bit I don't like.
Yeah.
Because again, if they sell it separately, I mean, I don't know what price they'd put it at, but why are you having to pay for a side quest? I agree with you in that sense. That should be in the base game.
I think I would be potentially, if I was looking at Gold Edition, because I have sort of floated towards that in recent games sometimes, because it does have better perks sometimes. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's a Star Wars game, and I'm going to want it. I'm probably going to be looking at something like CD keys to see what sort of reduction of price that they'll have in comparison to that. But that just begs me to ask the question to you, Joe. Based on all this negative pricing, will you be still getting Outlaws when it comes out?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, a number of other factors come into it that I'm not going to go into right now anyway.
Yeah.
But I will probably pick it up at some point. Because I want to play it because it is Star Wars content, right?
Yeah.
But whether I pick it up at launch is questionable. I'm definitely not going to be getting the gold edition or whatever.
Yeah.
It would be the base game. Yeah, I think you'll agree with me when I say it leaves a bit of a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah, this is
because it is very clearly a money grab.
Which is a shame because obviously it does look, in my eyes, a good game for a lot of Star Wars fans. But now they've done this sort of thing, which seems, well, scummy, money baggy. Yeah.
No, you're right. That's exactly the word for it. It is scummy behaviour, especially with the Ultimate Edition on Ubisoft Plus.
Yeah, I know
people will already be paying for that because of other games.
Yeah, because you get
£15 a month.
You get everything with Ubisoft with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just,
But again, that comes down to the monetary side as well. People that can't afford to or can't justify forking out for that, or just don't like the idea of doing a subscription-based thing to play games. They would rather own a physical copy. Well, they've got to pay 115 quid if they want to get all that. But
I don't agree with subscriptions in gaming at all. I don't think it should exist.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on
that
what
means
it's for,
I've just attacked the entirety of the World of Warcraft community, but
that's what I mean.
yeah.
Games like Star Wars: The Old Republic, I used to pay for membership on that.
Oh, and iRacing as well. Sorry, not iRacing, iRenting.
Yeah, I've heard about that. So you have to pay a subscription to pay and then pay for cars.
So
and stuff.
iRacing you have a subscription for things like servers and stuff.
Okay.
And then you've got to buy tracks and cars separately. You get some basic entry cars with your subscription, but you've got to buy more if you want to do a particular series and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah. You've got to have money, man. What's money?
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Well, look, we've talked a lot about Ubisoft's shady money grabbing tactics. Should we move on to the next bit?
So you mean Ubisoft doing more shady stuff?
Oh no!
Because that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about.
Oh, Ubisoft, it is not your month.
Ubisoft is not having a good month. I want to talk about The Crew.
Oh, I remember that game.
The Crew. This game. Ugh.
He comes with props.
I do. Look at that. The Crew.
It's just all I can see is your background, but
it's kind of doing it. I'm doing it for the other camera, not for you.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah.
This version of The Crew is what I've been holding up for those people on the audio version. The OG. It's been out for probably 10 years, and I would argue it probably still has one of the best game trailers, announcement trailers ever. It's so good. Even now, I watched it the other day, so yes, looks really good. As of March 31st, 2024, they shut down the servers because it's an always online game, which means, yeah, you can't play it no more, which is why I rushed to finish it, because I never actually finished it. So that's exactly what I did. Yeah, so this was the OG game from Ivory Tower of the Crew series, and for those people that don't know the story, I would say it's a decent story for a racing game. You play a guy called Alex, and Alex has a brother called Dayton. Dayton, at the start, basically asks you to drive because somebody owes him money. Now, Dayton is the head of the 510s. The 510s is basically the street racing gang of the US, because obviously one of the MO of the Crew is you get to play through and drive through all the states of the US on a very large scale. It takes you a few hours to get to one point to the other. So
okay.
in-game time, which is pretty impressive. So it's a big map.
Mm.
Yeah. Dayton gets killed, you get framed for it, you get put in jail. 5 years later, Zoe, FBI agent, comes to you and says, I've got this dodgy, potentially corrupt FBI agent. I want to take him down. I also want to take down Shiv. Shiv is the guy that killed your brother and is now top, the V8 of the 510s. So basically, you have to go through and basically take him down, take Corbin down with you as well. All that kind of stuff. That's the general gist of it. You have characters on the way that connect you, that are part of your cause. Things like Shiv's ex-girlfriend. People like, I've missed there's this hacker that you get brought into because she's looking for her sister, and you find out that she gets killed. She gets killed by the 510s. There's also a stunt driver as well. And he was a professional racer until the 510s rigged the race, and, well, he had an accident. So you have these connecting characters that do support your cause of taking down Shiv and taking down Coburn and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's the storyline for those that didn't know. Have you played The Crew, Joe?
I've played a little bit. I don't think I got that far into it, to be fair, but I've played a little bit, yeah. Now,
the reason why I've kind of gone through the synopsis is, well, you can't play anymore, so there it is. Yeah. Yeah. So I was actually quite sad when when I'm shut down, so I made sure I spent all my in-game money as much as possible. I took a few screenshots, which I put in a couple of Discords. I'll put them on screen for those on YouTube. And yeah, like I saw that. Yeah.
Sorry, I've gone to look at the article on PC Gamer that you've saved as a reference, and I've just been blinded by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
For those of you watching on YouTube, I've just turned even whiter.
Yeah. So basically, what Ubisoft have done after shutting down the servers for a story-based game. Now, yes, one of the premises of the crew was never drive alone, being in a crew. Now, you actually get put in a session with other players as you play through this sort of single player but not single player kind of story, which is fine. You don't have to interact with those guys. You can go on and do your single player missions the way that you want to, but you're always connected to a server. But that was back 10 years ago. This was a brand new premise of, driving together with other people with your crew, right? It was a 4-man crew, right? And yeah, that was the sort of new social aspect of a racing game back then. And that's what they did, which I didn't really mind. But now that they've taken that offline, the people that do want to experience the crew still, or the story, they now can't. It's basically mute. But Ubisoft have done something even worse. They've started revoking game licenses from people's accounts after it's shut down. And it basically says, there's a screenshot that I've put on, I'll put on the screen here. It basically says, you no longer have access to this game. Why not check out the store to pursue your adventures? Now, this screenshot is actually a screenshot of my Ubisoft Connect. They have revoked my license from a disc version. This isn't a digital purchase that I made. This is through disc, through a code. Like all the OG ones, when you buy a physical edition, you import a little code, and there you are. Even I am not safe from that.
So, I'm going to jump in very quickly here.
Yeah.
Because I did see about this when they started revoking the codes. It was popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the point of it. Because I get it. If it's a live service game and you shut down the servers for that, it bricks the game.
Yeah.
Right? And whilst it's never fun to lose a game that especially one that you've enjoyed that is live service like that, I understand that it happens. I understand that games reach an end of life, and I was okay with that.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird that they revoked the licenses, and I didn't understand why.
I get the argument that, the game's bricks, you can't play it anymore, why does this matter? Well, they're basically removing it from our libraries for us to install it again. That's effectively what they've done. And
no, because this is why I was looking at the PC Gamer article, because actually that kind of answered my question. And it reminded me of, I don't know if you've heard of Star Wars Galaxies.
Yeah.
It was, again, for those of you that are not familiar, it was a MMO that was massively popular many years ago. But that also shut down. Closed off, all the servers closed, that was it. Been dead for years. However, a lot of community groups have started up that have set up their own servers, created some lines of code that allow people to access these player-run servers, and there are actually some out there that are actively developing the game.
I think you've just stepped ahead of what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Because what I'm about to say is, so that the crew Discord is actually run not by official staff, it's by, volunteered moderators. They posted the other day saying there's a modding group out there currently working to get the crew back online through modding capabilities. In fact, they've got as far as getting into the menu, the main menu. So there's been progress, and there's a separate Discord that you can join, which was cool. But yeah, I suspect you were going to go on to that, weren't you? Saying the modding community might be a saviour. And it's looking like it is going to start to be, which is going to cause another issue because no one can actually uninstall it. This morning, time of the re-recording this, I actually uninstalled the crew because I thought, well, there's no point it being on my hard drive. I can free up some space, but I can't actually reinstall it now. And not to mention that the play button is grayed out anyway. I can't play it anyway. But yeah, like that sort of thing is a bit. Oh
yeah, no, you're right. It was reading the title of that article that made me think maybe they tried a Star Wars Galaxies with it.
Yeah, so
teams of people in the community will set up their own servers, create some mod or script or whatever to allow people to access that, and then they may even develop it themselves. They may put more content in, because that's what we've seen with Star Wars Galaxies. That is alive and thriving now. But yeah, you're right. I think, or I realise now that that's why Ubisoft is doing it. And again, I think that's scummy behaviour. If they've taken down their servers and they don't want to give it any care or support anymore, fine, do that, because that's a standard part of the life cycle of any game. But actively going and revoking licenses so that the community can't continue to enjoy it, that's just malicious. Yeah.
And with this announcement in the main crew Discord as well, they also did a sort of... this was for the UK people. And someone had set up a... one of these Parliament petitions.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously this is only for UK residents that can sign it. And this was for games to allow, what was it? It was on the Discord. I'm going to try and find it. It was basically for them to... This was in general for just game publishers to allow the life cycle of games to extend. I need the exact wording. But that was the sort of gist of it.
It'd be interesting to see how that goes, because I just wonder how the legal argument would work.
Okay, so here it is. Require video game publishers to keep games they have sold in a working state. Yeah, so require publishers to leave video games and related game assets or features they have sold to customers in a reasonable working state when support ends, so that no further intervention whatsoever is necessary for the game to function as a statutory consumer right. And at the moment, it's reached 11,000 signatures. And
wow,
if you know what that means...
It has to be debated in Parliament now.
Yes, it does. I've actually signed this. I signed it as soon as I knew about it, because this isn't although this has spiraled from the crew, this is in relation to any video game.
Yeah, it has an industry-wide impact.
Yeah, which I think would be good. Leaving it in a decent state. I think from a business point of view, or Ubisoft's point of view, it's them freeing up money and servers, like any game studio would do, because it's money going towards servers that aren't really needed because the game isn't supported anymore, because they're on their third game at the moment. And
that's why I don't actually have an issue with them closing the servers.
No.
Effectively bricking the game. I don't have a problem with that, because that is standard practice. That's something that we all understand and accept. But yeah, it's the specifically revoking the game licenses so that no one can go and do anything.
Yeah.
No one can, I understand that they don't want people effectively breaking into their game and changing it. I can understand that. Yeah. Not all developers do like modding, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But actively going out of their way to prevent it, that is... Yeah, I don't know the right word, but it's just...
It doesn't put a good image on Ubisoft at all.
No. And I will say, I could understand if the licenses were revoked for people that got it through a Game Pass or whatever. Because I can see that falling under the argument of, well, they've stopped support for it. Yeah. So why would they continue to include that within their Game Pass? That I can understand, and that is fine. I would be okay with that. But going out of the way to take it from people that, like you, and I'm pretty sure I bought a physical copy as well at one point, going out of the way to revoke those licenses, I think that's malicious. I think that's the only word for it, really.
And it is funny, because I remember reading about this. Someone on the PlayStation Store who bought it digitally actually was able to get a refund. And they bought it like 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. they actually were able to get a refund.
Oh, could you imagine if we all charged them for refunds?
We probably can't because of disc, but yeah, the people that
No, but imagine that you could though.
Yeah.
All of us go, right, well, Ubisoft, should give us some money back then.
Yeah.
Or they'd regret that decision.
Absolutely. And, going back to the story almost a little bit, I miss this. It was sort of gritty and sort of almost dark, in the sense that it's this criminal sort of street racing gang, that sort of vibe is what I'm getting at. And then they completely changed it at the Crew 2 because it's more motorsport focus, and then the Crew Motorfest is basically them ripping off Forza Horizon, let's be honest. Yeah, I don't like the fact that they said, this is the Crew, we don't have any further ideas, so we're changing the formula of it. That's what I don't like about the newer Crews, but, I've made my peace with that, because as soon as the Crew 2 trailer came, a few years later, I was like, oh, they've ruined the Crew, what have they done? What the hell is this? Yeah. But yeah, that's the situation of the Crew.
I think it will be interesting, just to wrap up, I think it will be interesting to see how this all develops.
Yeah.
As you said, it's been raised to be looked into in Parliament, or to be debated in Parliament, sorry. Which I think it'll be interesting to see what the outcome of that is, and what impact that has, assuming it goes, obviously, our way as the players.
Yeah.
How that will impact Ubisoft, and what they will do. Also, how that will impact the industry as a whole. Because the thing is, usually if one country makes a overarching ruling, on something like that, it tends to then start to crop up elsewhere in the world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's obviously more powerful with things like if Europe implements a rule on something. Like, for example, the most recent one I can think of is that they mandated that Apple had to use USB-C as the standard charger for their products now.
Yeah.
To bring them in line with everyone else. And that has shifted the entire market, because now all around the world they ship with USB-C on their phones and whatever. I wonder if it would start that domino effect as well, in terms of shifting more towards player ownership. But we'll have to wait and see. We don't know how it's going to go.
But again, bring out that point, Ubisoft is the people that say you need to be comfortable with not owning your games.
Well, that'll be a kick in the teeth to them then, won't it? If Parliament says, nah.
Yeah.
Nah, it's with the player, they have consumer rights. That's the way I can see it going, but we'll see. I would have to keep an eye on that one, I think.
Yeah. And I think it's time for you to talk about Warhammer, I think.
It is. I'm here for the Warhammer update. I'm trying to find the bit that I want to reference. I have... I'll hold it up very quickly. I have a prop as well. This is White Dwarf, issue 498. The reason I have got this, ladies and gentlemen, that are listening to the podcast, I have an update in relation to Space Marine 2. It's right, the Space Marine 2 rant is back. It's not really a rant. However, it's not really... I mean, it is about the game, but it's sort of game adjacent. For those of you that played Space Marine 1, you remember Captain Titus was captain of the Ultramarines, and if you knew anything about Warhammer, it was a little bit weird that he was a captain. Tom, I'll explain this more for your benefit so you can follow along with what I'm trying to explain. Within Warhammer, you have Space Marines as a whole. They're split up into chapters. A chapter is 1,000 Space Marines. It's made up of 10 companies, 100 Space Marines to each company. Plus supporting staff. Anyways, you can go into it a bit more. Titus is a captain of the Ultramarines. The Ultramarines Primarch is Rabute Gilliman. Gilliman wrote the Codex. He wrote the rulebook on Space Marines, basically.
Yeah.
So obviously, they follow it to the letter. Because it is not their holy book, but kind of like their holy book.
Yeah.
Right? So they don't break it. each company within a chapter has a colour. So the shoulder trim denotes what company they belong to. Gold is the second company. However, in the lore, there was already a captain of the second company. So when the game came out, we all went, well, hang on a minute, how is Titus a captain? That was, I think it was Kato Sicarius at the time, who was named in the lore. So the understanding of the community was, well, it's not canon, it's canon adjacent. It follows the developments of the universe, it follows all the established lore, but it's just a character that's different to who exists currently.
Yeah.
White Dwarf issue 498 has finally given us some lore, and Titus exists in canon now, which also leads us into the story of Space Marine 2. Yeah, it's given us basically backstory. I will give a summary rather than going through the whole thing. It is a few pages long. Basically, before the events of Space Marine 1, Titus was the veteran sergeant of the command squad, supported the captain. I can't think of his name and I was trying to find it. I cannot find it now, which is annoying me. Anyways, he supported the captain. The captain died in a battle against, I think it might have been orcs? Tyranids. Fighting Tyranids, sorry. Yeah, he died in the battle. Titus took over temporary command of the second company, and then after the war on that planet was won, he was made formally the captain. As soon as he was made captain, he was sent to the world of what was the name? I should have made a note of the name. I can't think of the name. Basically, the world we went to in Space Marine 1. He fought there. At the end of the game, he was taken away by the Inquisition because of his touch of the warp or whatever. They thought he might be corrupted. The lore now goes on to say that between Space Marine 1 and Space Marine 2, that was when Kato Sicarius took over after Titus was arrested, which now links in with the lore as it was, kind of where we expect things to be. Titus was locked up for, I think, 100 years in an Inquisitor's cells, being interrogated, mind probed to investigate. The Inquisitor died, and he was broken out by the Death Watch. He then went to serve with the Death Watch for a while. The Death Watch is an alien hunting elite force. So very different to what he was doing. He fought with the Death Watch for a while. Again, they ended up going to a world. They were fighting, I can't remember who. That might have been orcs. No, it was Eldar. They were fighting Eldar. And basically his squad was wiped out. Now, during his time with the Death Watch, he went unnamed. He felt like in his solace with the Inquisitor, he had dishonoured his chapter, and basically he felt like he wasn't worthy to go back to them. That's why no one had come to collect him.
Yeah.
So he went nameless. Obviously no one knew he was previously an Ultramarine. No link was made. And again, that's why no Ultramarines picked him up, because he would have been near them at times. Well, on this world that they went to, like I say, his squad gets wiped. He is alive, but severely injured. And a Ultramarine strike force comes to relieve the Death Watch on that world, led by two major characters. Severus Agaman, who is the first company captain, who knew Titus when he became captain, and Avaro Tagurius, who is the chief librarian, who again knew Titus when he became captain. Tagurius senses him in the warp, recognises that feeling, is like, I know that, I haven't felt that for a while, but I know that person. They arrive on the world, they rescue him, they take him back. Marnis Calgar, the chapter master, absconds him of all crimes against the Imperium, says, no, you are an honour to the chapter, you are a stellar Marine, you're coming back. We don't have a captaincy for you, so you're going to be a lieutenant. And that's where he comes into it, the Space Marine 2. Oh. There is a lot more detail than that. I've tried to summarise it, but I realised that went on a lot longer than I meant it to.
What a roller coaster for him.
Right. Yeah, so we finally have Titus fitting into the lore. the first game now fits into the lore as well, which it didn't before. That's kind of exciting for those of us that are interested in the lore. And yeah, I mean, it kind of leads us into where he's at going into the second game. Is he still carrying some of that shame? Is he still carrying some of that guilt for what happened on the Forge World? I think it was Grya, I think it was called. He obviously lost his veteran sergeant, the leader of his command squad at the time, who was an incredible character, just to note. And we don't know what happened to Leandros, the bloody traitor, the one that turned him in. I think a lot of people are hoping for it as well, but I'm hoping Leandros will appear at some point and we can bitch slap him across the square. But no, I'm hoping he will appear because I'm interested to see how that interaction occurs. But yeah, I just thought it was worth mentioning. I thought it was interesting that we finally got a lore update on that. We finally understand what's been happening between the two games because, again, more Tom, for your benefit, there are studs in his head. Each stud for a Space Marine represents 100 years of service. It's like a veterancy thing.
Yeah.
In the first game, he had 2 studs. In this, I think he has 4 studs now. So everyone's going, well, hang on a minute. 200 years have passed. What the hell's happened? Now we've got an understanding.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I love a bit of lore. Lore is one of the things that drew me to this universe in the first place. Anyway, I will say the release date has not changed. It's still saying the 9th of September. I can't pre-order it yet. I want to pre-order it. But it hasn't changed. And everything that I'm hearing from Saber Interactive is that it's still going to be launching on the 9th. They obviously gave themselves that extra bit of time we talked about previously to, I guess, polish up the game, make sure it's ready for release. But it looks like it's going to be coming. I'm very excited. I will be streaming it when it comes out because I think that's going to be my game of the year. Yeah, I'm super pumped and I'm so happy to get a lore update. Thank you to the Warhammer guys for giving us that. It was actually a very nice read. I'm hoping they'll put it up online somewhere at some point so that other people can access it. But
that
yeah,
just reminds me, you talking about Dorban. Embracer sold Saber. I've just remembered, didn't they?
Yes.
And that's where I told you, oh yes, Space Marine 2's all good because the CEO addressed it. Yeah.
Yeah, they did say it was still going ahead. So.
And now they've been given obviously Star Wars KOTOR, which is from Embracer as well. Which was a little bit weird actually. Them selling it and then. Yeah.
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 But I imagine there's another team working on that.
Yeah.
Separately, but I'm very excited.
I knew there was something else linked to what I mentioned earlier. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
But yeah, that's my Warhammer update. It's very nerdy, it's very lore heavy. I don't have anything else to talk about on the game at the moment. I'm waiting, I would say patiently, but it's not patiently at all. I'm waiting for any news to come out very eagerly, and when it does, I will be sure to give it to you all in another Warhammer update. But for now, the lore is all I've got to be excited about, so you best believe I'm going to be excited. Right, I think that's probably us done for this month, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much to all of you for coming and listening to us ramble on for God knows how long, probably 2 hours now.
An hour and a half.
Oh, there you go. If you have enjoyed it, please do be sure to give the podcast a follow wherever you're listening to it or watching it, if you are watching on YouTube. Our next podcast is going to be on the 29th of May, so keep an eye out for that. As I say, give it a follow, give it a rating if there is a rating system on your platform of choice. And please do give us a review as well. We love getting the feedback. If you share with us what you're enjoying or what you'd like to see more of or what you'd like to see less of even, we can think about that with our future podcasts. So please do give us that feedback. It's essential for what we're trying to do. You can stay up to date with the podcast as well by following all of our socials. So we can both be found on Discord, Twitter, YouTube and Twitch. Links will be in the description for both of us. Tom is under Maverick RNG. I'm under FamiliarForce. We've also got some podcast socials as well. Tom.
So we've got it's just Fandoms Podcast on YouTube and on Instagram.
Yeah. There you go. So do make sure to give those a follow. You'll get updates. Tom posts lots of shorts as well. They're very funny. If you look at them as an overview, you get a weird conversation between us. It's great. It's a great time.
Jay's having so much fun with that because he gets two different conversations.
Jay updates his conversation list every time a new one goes up. So go and check it out. See what weird conversations we're having at the moment.
From the freeze frame, of each short, yeah.
But otherwise, that's us done. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next time
on the Fandom's Edge.